Hey guys, a person thingy here, and today, as you can see, I'm doing something a lot different. Today, I'm going to be going over how to deal with leopard gecko and most other reptile impaction, so leopard gecko impaction or other reptiles. I personally have a leopard gecko, so she is what the video is going to be based on. Keep in mind, some symptoms may vary between different kinds of reptiles, such as snakes and turtles and whatnot. I'm not sure if you can get it in snakes, but this video is going to be based on leopard geckos because that's what I have. This is my leopard gecko scale. She is about 2.5 years old as of the filming of this video, and I've had her for about 2 years now. When I bought the enclosure, which said it was mainly targeted at leopard geckos, it had leopard geckos pasted all over the front of it, it actually came with sand. Sand or other loose substrates are very bad for leopard geckos as it can cause impaction by jamming up their digestive system. If your enclosure comes with sand, throw it out. There are many different things you can use in the enclosure. Something solid, and in 1 or 2 big pieces. Some people use newspaper, paper towel, or repta carpet, which is made for geckos and gives the enclosure a bit of a grassy environment, a bit of a grassy feel. That can be a bit expensive, however, although it does look good, and it needs to be replaced occasionally, once again costing a bit. Personally, I use blue shop towels, which can be found in most hardware stores and places like Walmart or Costco or other places like that. I use these because a single roll will last you years, possibly over the gecko's lifespan of 20 years, and it is quite soft. Some more expensive brands of paper towel work, but if you care about your gecko, you should go the extra mile to get something soft. So don't use your crappy paper towel if you don't buy the best stuff in the world. Just go out and buy a single roll of the softest stuff you can find, or the shop towels. As you can see in the picture, I do need to replace the towels in there soon, as Scales has tracked all kinds of water from her bowl, and there is a lot of small poop. It's small because she's partially impacted. She used to be fully impacted because of the sand. When I did some research, I discovered how bad sand is for them, and I threw it out right away. Before I tell you how you can treat impaction, I must say this probably won't work on the first try, and to give it a few days. If your gecko doesn't start pooping, try putting some olive oil or vegetable oil in their water bowl, in addition to giving them warm baths. If your gecko doesn't start pooping within a week or 2, take them to the vet. If your gecko starts pooping again, don't stop with the baths. My gecko appeared to be fully recovered, so I stopped giving her baths. Then the problem returned shortly after I stopped, so I'm back at it. I would keep bathing the gecko for at least 2 weeks after they have their big daily poops again, just to make sure. If you don't know what it is, leopard gecko impaction, and I quote from the wiki, is a major health problem not only for leopard geckos, but for almost every reptile. The main cause of impaction is sand or other loose substrates, gravel, walnut shell, quartz, etc. that your gecko might ingest during feeding. So, if you're going to feed them a cricket on sand, for example, when they leap in to grab the cricket, they might get a mouthful of sand with the cricket, or just a mouthful of sand and end up swallowing it. The ingested substrate doesn't digest like the rest of the food in its stomach, and either forms a mass in the stomach or passes through the intestines and creates a blockage. This blockage prevents the gecko from pooping, and the gecko will stop eating. The sick leopard gecko will grow weak and eventually die if not treated. Now, in my own words, the symptoms of leopard gecko impaction include a lack of activity, meaning slowness in the reptile, the animal refusing to eat days on end, really small poop, and they rarely poop or don't poop at all. Those are the easiest symptoms to spot and will almost always result from impaction. Another symptom is a bloated belly and a dark spot on their belly. Here today, I'm going to show you one way to cure impaction, and I'll also talk about other ways that I'm yet to try. Take a moment to check your reptile. Seriously, after I tell you what to look for, pause the video. Alright, so you need to go and check your gecko right now. If there is a dark blue spot on his or her belly, if they have a thin tail and never open their eyes widely, take them to the vet right away, as late impaction is very serious and can slowly and painfully kill your gecko. Do not bother with this treatment if these symptoms are present. Anyway, on with the treatment. I take Scales out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for baths, as those are the days I clean her, water her, and feed her. On those days, I put her in the bath for about 30 minutes. On the deep end of the tub, the water should be about 1 to 2 inches deep, 1 inch just for treatment, and 2 inches if you would like them to go for a swim as well if they want. The shallow end of the tub should be about 1/4 of an inch to 3/4 of an inch, so that they can relax if they want to, if they don't want to go swimming. The temperature should be on the warmer side, not hot, but not just warm. It should be almost hot, but not even close to hurting. You be the judge for your animal, but try to get it pretty warm as well. Put the gecko in the shallow end carefully, doing your best not to dunk their heads underwater. It's okay if you do. You will notice as the bath goes on. It's okay if you do. You will notice as the bath goes on that sometimes they put their own heads underwater without any problems or any apparent signs of struggle. Under no circumstances are you to leave the room while they're in the tub. Usually I'll take my tablet in and watch something on YouTube while Scales is taking a bath, but make sure it's easy to simply move your eyes a little bit and be able to see the gecko, or in such a way that it is easy to notice them struggling if it happens. Scales isn't a fan of the bath and will sometimes try to get out, and they'll always fail because, you know, bathtub. If your gecko does this, keep a very close eye on them because they can slip and fall underwater and begin to struggle. If this happens, simply put your hand in front of them and they'll run right up on you. Just let them sit for a minute to calm down and then put them back in the shallow end. If they choose to go to the deep end and go for a swim, keep in mind that they move very fast while swimming, and you should be able to see the difference between a swimming gecko and a drowning gecko. Swimming gecko will appear to have a pattern in their movements, while a drowning gecko will probably have no movement pattern. This is why it's important to keep an eye on them and be ready to jump to the rescue at a second's notice. At about the halfway point, 15 minutes from my schedule, empty the bathtub about halfway, making sure the gecko is either on the opposite end of the tub or out completely the whole time, and fill it back up to its original capacity with water that is just too hot to touch. Mix the water in and put the gecko back in if you took them out. They should be fine if their heads get dunked during this. They will also have no problem with light waves. After this, leave them till the water gets cold again, usually after about another 15 minutes, then take them out. I haven't done this yet, and I may eventually, but if you don't get results after a few days, try massaging the lower part of their bellies lightly for a while. Keep in mind that this will only work if your gecko is extremely comfortable with you. Do not do this against their will. After their bath, give them their regular meal, which will hopefully get things moving and obviously so they don't starve. Another thing you could try, as I mentioned earlier, is put olive oil or vegetable oil in their water bowl, probably about 5 to 10% of all that is in the bowl. If you've tried all this within a 2-week time span and they are still impacted, take them to the vet as soon as you can. This has been a perfect thank you guide to curing leopard gecko impaction. If you have any feedback, want to leave your experience with these tips, or have any questions, comment below.
Thank you for watching.
Yes, I'm weird. I know.